What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You are on the sidelines with the sideline guys, and I'm joined by the one, the only, the newly. I'm gonna let you take it away. My guy, Derrick Myers. How's it going, bro?
Hey man, good, good. It's good to be back. I've said that before, but yeah, it's good to be back, man. I think it's been way too long since I've been on with you, man. So good times.
Yes, sir. Many congratulations are in order, but the
Thank
most
you.
important thing is the fact that you're back, and I'm really excited to get into
Yes,
season three, man. I can't
yes,
believe it's
sir.
been 2 years already. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man. The time is flying. We're growing up. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I
Yes,
like it.
sir. Everything's trending in the right direction though, so that's the only thing that matters. I'm really excited to share with you guys our records from season 1 and 2, just so
Yeah,
you have an idea what to look forward to, right? Because honestly, this
sure.
is really impressive stuff. Like I know people toot their horns all the time, but I think to be able to have records like this over 2 seasons now really shows
Yeah.
the caliber of what we're doing on this show. So season one, Derrick won the chip. He finished the season being 167 wins, 103 losses, and then, of course, that one tie. I finished the season, obviously, took my L, 164 wins to 106 losses. Obviously, that tie factors in as always. And then season two, I was able to get my revenge. I finished the season with 173 wins, 95 losses, and then two ties, and then there was one no contest because of the game where Damar Hamlin's injury happened.
Yes.
So
Yes.
not sure we'll ever get a score like that again, but historic
Prayerfully
nonetheless.
not.
Oh yeah. Obviously
Not
that
that
incident, no,
non-contest.
but
Yeah,
for a no
yeah,
contest to
yeah.
happen, it's so I don't can't remember another time. But you finished the season 162, 106, 2-1. So I'm
Sir.
impressed. I don't know how you feel about this. I feel like we did a good job the first 2 years, man, and I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, we got a lot to live up to.
Hey man, look, I know how good we are. So, it's not shocking to me that we hit those numbers like that. You know what I'm saying? I think more people that watch the show, they'll understand that we know what we're talking about, right? So it's all good. It's all good. I am coming for that throne though. I'm getting my crown back. So I just want you to understand, you know, I'll put it like this. I'm getting two rings next year.
Wow, wow, I love it. We firing shots early over
Yeah,
here, but as the wise
yeah,
philosopher Nate Diaz once said, "We're not surprised, motherfuckers. Thank you for reeling
yeah,
me in, right? You got to act like you've been there before." So
yeah,
respect,
yeah.
but hey, it ain't happening, man. I remember
It's
how that L felt. And all I
it
know is
hurts.
I ain't gonna feel that again. I'm not interested in feeling that again.
Yes,
Also,
sir.
OTS draft night tonight. I'm really looking forward to our
Yes.
fantasy draft. I got cooked last year, man. It was not a good time for me. But looking forward to bounce back and hopefully make playoffs. God damn it.
Bro, I got cooked too, so I get you.
We
I
need to think about a punishment as well for last place. There needs to be some
I
sort of
okay, I agree with that. But before we lean into that punishment, you still have to pay out
oh,
your bet
I do, I do,
from last year.
I do.
I'm ready to see that either Celtics gear in the background or actually it was just Celtics gear. It wasn't Eagles because we were talking about NBA, right? So
Hmm.
just Celtics gear in the background. I'm looking forward to seeing, doesn't matter what it is, a flag, figurine. You can run up that championship, banner if you want. The 17, baby. So let's get it.
Hey,
Let's
it
get it.
hurts. It hurts, but just know there's another another bet that we have that's in play this season. And you know what that is?
What's that?
This is a deep cut right here. Baker
Okay.
Mayfield potentially making a playoff game. I don't know if you remember this
I forgot
conversation.
about that.
Baker Mayfield leading a team, an NFL team, to the playoffs. It's in
Yeah.
play. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm favoring it to happen, but it's in play.
Hmm.
So I got to get back on the board somehow. I hate that I'm getting humiliated to this level supporting teams that I don't even support, right? Like this bet didn't have anything to do with our
Yeah.
teams, but it's okay. I'll put up the Celtic green. If I'm being honest, the Celtics are kind of like my Eastern Conference team, and we've talked about this before. So I'm
Yeah.
not too
Yeah.
ashamed. But it's
Good.
of course it's Thunder up.
You
I've got to
can't.
mention before we move on. Have you been watching
Yeah.
any of the FIBA action?
A little bit. I mean, I saw how Dylan Brooks was trying to square up in the what was it, in the tunnel today.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. Um, but I haven't been paying attention too much to it. I think I don't want to say that this is I'm not interested in this team, bro. I'm just not interested in them. So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, hey, they win, but I'm not
Mhm.
I don't know. They're just not piquing my interest like that.
Hey, I respect it. I feel you too. They definitely sent out a B team compared to what we're used to for sure.
Yeah.
I brought
Yeah.
it up though just because SGA has been cooking, man. And you know, any chance I'm gonna
Oh,
get to talk about my guy, I gotta jump right in.
that SGA, man, to me, he's been like one of my favorite players to watch over the last couple of years. Anyway, that's just not on my team. He's like one of my favorite ones to watch for, and I think I had him in fantasy last year. So I love getting him. I love drafting him on there. So I'm definitely targeting him this year. So just so you're aware,
Yes, sir. Yes,
just so you're
sir.
aware,
Damn.
I want to
I,
put that
I,
out
I got
there.
to take them even higher now. This is scary times for sure.
Yeah,
But we've got a lot to get into, obviously, with this NFL season. We're
yes,
trying to
sir.
cover blitz, everything that we got for week one. So I think it's only important that we talk about some of the unfortunate news already coming out of these camps. Um, Cooper Cup is out with a hamstring injury confirmed for at least week one. Um, I know you mentioned to me that there might be a chance he might even go on IR or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, we'll get to the Rams later, but how
Mhm.
did you feel about their prospects for this season in general? And then obviously, how does this factor in?
I haven't felt great about the Rams since they walked off the field with that trophy. It's weird. I haven't felt good about them, man. And Coop has been having random injuries over the last I think 2 years anyway. So it wasn't shocking to hear that he got something this early. But I feel so bad. Well, not really, because if you drafted him, you're just not paying attention. Um, People that drafted him, especially high in fantasy this year, I think that's probably one of the worst moves that anybody could have made right now. Because you're spending like a high pick on a player that is likely not going to be on the field much. Because they're already talking about him, putting him on IR. They don't really know what's going on with the hamstring. So it's like if you spend a high draft pick on Cooper Cup right now, that is very ill-informed, a very ill-informed move to make. But two, it's also one of those things that you're looking at the Rams. I don't really know what I don't know what to expect from them this year. Like they're not going to be better. I mean, put it like this, they're not going to be one of the finalists in playoffs. I don't even know if I expect them to make the playoffs this year. you know. And if they
Yeah.
don't, what are you going to do? Does Aaron Donald ask for a trade, or does he retire? You know what I'm saying? Like, what
Mhm.
is it that you're looking for at that point? Or do they try to trade him before the season ends?
Yeah. So many
They
different
gave up a
ways it
lot
could
of
go.
picks.
Yep.
They gave up a lot of picks for that championship, and like it's a good, like, I understand, just blowing it up for a championship. You're not going to get the opportunity to get a championship every year, so it made sense that they went for it. But they went all out for it and had nothing planned for the immediate future. Like, you go from championship to what they were last year's. That's wild. That's a wild turnaround.
For sure. And what's weird too is on paper the first time around it didn't feel like it was going to go that way. I remember last year
Yeah.
I thought they would at least be on the bubble to make the playoffs, but the fact that it played out the way it did, um, it's just a weird mix of, like you said, giving away your picks on top of signings that just don't work out well, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember even when it happened, seeing that Allen Robinson deal and being a little confused, and obviously we
Yeah,
see how that played out. Probably a third receiver now on the Steelers, which is interesting. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's just I agree with you, man. I think honestly, the fact that Aaron Donald hasn't retired already is kind of shocking to me. Like for someone that's constantly
Hmm.
be talking about it and to not make
Hmm.
that leap, especially when you know like your team's probably not in a position to contend. I think honestly though, if Cooper Cup was healthy, it's always that mentality of like we're gonna see what we have, right? And I think
Right.
with him playing, that we could see some things work out, right? But I don't know, man. I think now, especially, it feels like we're in tank mode again. And I have no idea whether or not they have their pick this year, but tough times, man. Tough times.
I don't know if they do. That's I didn't even think about that for this coming season. But can you imagine going through all this for the last 2 years and not having anything to show for it? You
Yeah.
know, at least if you're tanking, a lot of teams that are tanking are getting a nice return in the draft. They're not going to be able to most likely. So it's like it's good that they got the championship. I'm glad for Odell, but I don't see anything happening for them anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. And
And let me ask you something: do you move on from Matt Stafford? Like, when do you move on from him? Because that contract, like, when do you actually move on from him? Because I don't know that they're going to be able to find anybody to trade for him at this point.
yeah, I think he's another person too that is on that retirement bubble and has been there for a couple years.
Yeah,
I don't know whether or not Stetson is the guy, so I feel like that plays a factor too,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
obviously you took a late round shot at him. I think they're gonna let things play out. I think obviously he's down for this season. We're gonna figure things out, but I won't be surprised if he retires at the end of this season. Um,
yeah.
Dude's a dog, man, and
He is.
never question whether or not he's willing to put his body on the line out there for even one play, let alone the whole season. So that's not
Yeah,
to be questioned. But like you said, man, age catches up to everybody, and whenever you hear any smoke on that retirement talk, a fire's coming soon.
yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's one of those things that I guess like it's cool. Again, it's cool that they've been able to they were able to get that championship. But yeah, oh my God, Stafford has 31 mil next year, 27 the year after, and 26 the year after that. He won't be an unrestricted free agent until 2027.
Hmm.
So, and that's age 39 at that point. He's 35. I don't see him playing that long, bro.
Hey, I
Not
could
as a
see him play
starter.
out that contract. I
Not
I could see that happen.
yeah, but not does he play as a starter though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like physically, is would he be able to do that for 3 more years? That's my question, and
Mhm.
that's what I doubt. So like I'm like I don't know.
In today's NFL, though,
I
the
don't
the
know.
bar has changed, right? The
It
bar
has
has changed.
changed. Yeah, it has changed, but he's not Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Not physically. So I don't
Nobody
know
is.
if that's gonna be I don't know if that's gonna work. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, I haven't necessarily seen decline, right? But who
Yeah.
knows? It's always knocking. It's always knocking. So
Yeah.
interesting thing to mention when we're talking about the Rams game later on. But um to get right to this Thursday game, right? Like I feel
Yes,
like the
sir.
big news around a lot of the offseason is in regards to the Chiefs. The first one primarily being the Chris Jones holdout. As of today, we're recording this on Wednesday. There isn't any news on that. Obviously, we just got Nick Bosa signing, so that's good to see his holdout come to an end. But before we even get to the Travis Kelsey injury, how
Yeah.
big is Chris Jones to this Chiefs team, and what are they in for if they can't get a deal done?
Well, at least I'll put it like this. Starting week 1, you're going against the Lions, right?
Mhm.
Um, how are they going to stop Gibbs? How are they going to stop Gibbs without Jones? I
A lot of
that's
zone.
yeah. So that's my biggest thing to watch. I think if you have him in fantasy, I think this is gonna be a good week for Gibbs, I think, fantasy wise. Um, but in the long term, I don't know what this is like how this is gonna play out for the Chiefs and Jones. I really don't. I mean, he should get paid. but I don't even know what their cap situation is right now. So I can't speak on to whether, this is something they're going to easily be able to get done. Because obviously it's not that easy at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but they need him. They need him. And I think they're not going to be able to make a championship run without him. Say as much as you want about Mahomes, but Jones has been just as impactful in that defense as Mahomes has been on offense. And I don't know that you can't have him. If you're expecting to go get a championship this year, you can't not have Jones out there.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And I think another sneaky fantasy implication here is I feel like all things considered, if Chris Jones is gone for a significant portion of the season, my stock is up even higher on Patrick Mahomes' fantasy ceiling
Oh yeah.
because it's going to be a lot of chasing touchdowns against teams that have high scoring offenses, and very
Yeah.
similar to how I'm seeing this game play out, especially with all these other news coming out. So obviously, Travis
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey had a hyperextension in his knee. I found out about this not even because I found out that he was injured, but because I
Mm-hmm.
checked my Dynasty app and Noah Gray was the number one picked up player in the league. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what
What
is going
happened?
on? Yeah, you gotta follow the breadcrumbs till you get to the source. What do you think
Yeah.
about obviously Travis Kelsey potentially missing game 1, and if he has to miss out any significant time, what's the outlook?
Um, it doesn't sound like he'll miss too much time. From a fantasy perspective, it does suck if you have him on your team, which I think I have him on like 2 or 3 rosters right now, so that's fun. Um, but I forgot the name of their backup tight end. Um, but obviously he's not going to have as great of an impact as Kelsey would have. But I'm going to go ahead and give you my prediction for tomorrow, though.
Ooh,
I
jumping the
don't.
gun.
I I think the Lions are going to win this game, man.
Wow.
I think the Lions are going to win this one because it's one of those things that if you don't have Jones and you don't have Kelsey out there, I know you have Mahomes still, but there's going to be a lot more predictability, I think, from the Chiefs than usual. So I think the Lions could actually pull this one off. I think they could actually make this a tough week for the Chiefs, which is actually good for the Chiefs that Kelsey is out now for his uh, um, availability for week 2 because it's a Thursday night game. It gives him like what 10 days to rest.
Yep.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think he'll. I would expect him to come back for week 2. I don't expect him to play week 1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like knowing him, he might still try to get out there. So because they
Mm-hmm.
haven't ruled him out, I'm kind of squinting. I love
Yeah.
that you just came out firing, right? Because I was
Yeah.
so excited to make the fucking case, right? I'm not gonna jump off the ledge and pick them like you did, but I was like,
Yeah.
man, there's a lot of different angles on why I could definitely see them winning. I just think this is gonna be a shootout. I thought it was gonna be a shootout already, right? But
Yeah.
when
Yeah. Yeah.
when this
Yeah.
considered, especially, honestly, I'm not really concerned about Patrick Mahomes figuring it out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
th- I have never been, and I'll say this, I'm going to be honest here because I think I've made it very clear my allegiances when it comes to Pat Mahomes being the best quarterback in the league. I
Yeah.
have not, it's hard for me to remember besides greats, right? Besides the obvious people we can point to, quarterbacks that could consistently do well with players that are just mixed and matched every
Yeah.
single year.
Yeah.
The fact that there was basically no contract talks with Juju on a year, he had a pretty damn good year, and especially in the blocking, I thought he really did contribute a lot to that championship team. Not hurting at
Mm-hmm.
all, right? Just picking it, they just pick up guys, find different guys. They're sneaky deep at receiver. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those names, Richie James, like there's a lot of names on that roster, and I think no matter how it plays out, like I'm not worried about them scoring points. Like I think they're gonna figure that
Yeah.
out no
Yeah.
matter what. And I don't like
Yeah.
the Lions defense. We talk about this all the time too, but the whitest damn pass rush in the league. Um, when you start getting to those DBs
Yeah.
and we still white, we got problems. You know what I'm saying? That's when we really got problems. So That
Yeah.
I think they were last year in pass protection, and
Mhm.
I think it's going to continue that trend. So I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
at the Chiefs here. I'm gonna be the one to be the homer, but I get it. And if there's a play I'm giving out, right, I'm giving the Lions to cover. I think this is gonna be a close enough game where we'll
Yes.
see it in that 4 or 5 point range. So
Hmm.
play the Lions to cover if you're as gung ho as Derrick is for sure.
Yeah. I mean, my see, one of my things is that I don't know how if you don't have Kelsey out there blocking, I think Hutchinson is going to have a little more fun out there. I think it's going to be very interesting. I'm not saying that they're going to dominate, but I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. I think especially if that Chiefs defense does not have their anchor, I don't know how you stop that run game, without Jones. So that's where I see the major hole. But of course, anytime you have Mahomes, you have a chance, a huge opportunity to win. There's not many times where you can look at him and say that he's going to be a downgrade to your possibility of winning, right? But yeah, I'm not too sure that they're going to be able to pull this one off because of those two holes. But I do think that Pacheco is going to be a very interesting going to be a very interesting player tomorrow night. I think he's going to be very interesting to see how they utilize him. Because Eric Bieniemy is not there anymore, right? So that's one of the things I'm kind of interested in seeing how their offense flows with the new coordinator. I am very intrigued by that. So I don't know. I think Pacheco's going to have a good night tomorrow.
Definitely. You're selling me on
Yeah,
this. I gotta ask you for
yeah,
fantasy implication. Because I know you
mhm,
shouted out Gibbs already.
yeah,
I think the best comparison to who he will be, right? For the uninformed that never seen Jameer Gibbs play with somebody with an upside like a Alvin Kamara, right? A back that
hmm,
gets heavy reps in the passing game and could really be a
hmm,
difference maker and fast as hell, right? Compared to most backs, but not the
yeah,
biggest back,
right,
not a sturdy back. So I'm
right.
curious, when drafting your team, are you seriously looking at David Montgomery as a fantasy option later on in rounds?
David Montgomery,
Yep.
bro. I have been. I think I gave up on Montgomery, like getting him, uh, drafting him on my team in general, because I feel like I've been let down so many times over the last 2 years with him. Not saying that he wouldn't be a good get, like especially for a flex option. He might be a good flex option. Um, but I don't know. I can't read Montgomery. I don't. I really don't know what to expect from him. Um, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
tough.
just put it like that. I really don't know.
For me, I actually really like his upside. I think we saw last year, right? Got Swift traded to you guys, right? They're able
Yeah,
to work
yeah,
with multiple running backs and figure it
yeah,
out by committee. We talked on the
yeah.
show many times on why that might be the best approach and why more teams should consider doing it that way. I
Hmm.
really I don't think he's gonna have the same explosive play upside, but I feel like when you all things considered, you're drafting Gibbs around maybe late second round, third round, right? If you
Hmm.
could get David Montgomery late seventh, I think they're gonna
That's
have
a good option.
come the end of the season. I feel like they're gonna have comparable numbers, especially with
Yeah,
the touchdown opportunities in goal line situations. So, um,
yeah,
honestly, I don't have Gibbs in any of my leagues, and I got Montgomery in a couple. So, interesting little
yeah,
wrinkle there to a dynamic running back room, one of the best in the league, if you ask me.
yeah.
But
And
man,
I actually
I'm
got Gibbs.
go ahead.
I got Gibbs last night. I had I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the show, but there was one league that I'm in that last year I gave up early and I made some trades. I got an extra second and no, I got a first for my second, then I got a third for my fifth. And with my second first round pick, no, my second round pick, I got Gibbs.
Nice.
So
That's a
I'm
yeah.
very intrigued to see what he does this year. because I really want to win that. I want to win fantasy, but that league specifically, I really want to win it for sure. So we'll see how that goes.
I feel that, man. I just gotta say this too, since we spoke a little bit about fantasy. The Lions in
Mm.
general, like I'm up. Like I know I just shit
Yeah,
on them and picked the Chiefs, but I really like their upside this year and offensively specifically, man. Like they're gonna be forced
yeah,
into a position where they gotta score like 35 a night to win. Brown, if you're playing Dynasty and at any point have any chance to trade for him, make as crazy as an offer as you can. I've been going back and forth literally for like 3 weeks, trying to make this trade happen. I really think he could be a cornerstone of the league within the next couple years, man. So Lions
yeah.
upside looking good. Not looking good too, not looking too good this week though.
Most definitely, man.
Next up, game two, our first Sunday morning game. We've got the Bengals coming up against the Browns. Obviously, the Joe Burrow injury still lingering. I know he got to practicing already, and all that stuff is lingering. I know the talks of the contract got paid, so he really needs to
Hmm.
ball out in order to justify, especially when you consider a lot of the guys on that offense are due to get paid real soon too. And who
Yeah,
knows how much money they'll have to make that work, considering they just gave him a lot of money, right? So I feel like this is a real window year for the Bengals. As far as the Browns, man, I'm gonna be real. When I look at this division, man, I said this last year and it didn't come out to be true.
hmm,
But I think we have a legitimate shot to be the only division to have all teams be in that playoff contention, be in that playoff bubble. Um,
yeah,
I'm really high on all the teams in the North, but I'm really my eyes are on Deshaun Watson. It's really depends on how far he can take them. I think he's another good fantasy option later on in those rounds. Once again, when all the QBs are already gone, I feel like he is someone that has top five fantasy quarterback upside because of what he does with his rushing as well.
hmm.
Interested in whether or not he can get back to form because obviously he looked rusty last season, right? So
Yes,
if you're
yeah.
still looking rusty now with a full training camp under your belt, we there's some real questions to be asked. So this is a real make or break season, in my opinion, for both of these teams that I think are both trying to contend right now. So with all that being said, I'm gonna just throw to you with I'm going with the Bengals. It's hard to pick against Joe Burrow even on the road.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Bengals as well in this one. I really like you said, I like all the teams in this division as well. But if there's one that I'm really gonna look at with a side eye is the Browns. I don't know what to expect from them. Like their upside is really good, but you don't fully know the possibility of them being able to achieve that upside. You know what I'm saying? Um, like you said, if Mahomes, I mean not Mahomes, oh my god, if Watson is not back into form after a training camp, I don't know. I like we almost have to look at the Browns and uh uh make a couple of decisions on them, right? One one is we got to figure out what this whole QB curse is about with Cleveland, right? But two, that the amount of spending that they do, I think that's one of the things that I would be interested to see if they decide. Let's say the whole thing with Deshaun doesn't work out this season. I would be interested to see what they decide to do with the front office after this season, because it doesn't make sense that you gave up all that you gave up for Watson for it to not pan out, right? So they should, to be honest, I think like the Bengals have made it to the Super Bowl, right? Like they have some issues still on offensive line as well, but I think they're definitely better equipped to contend for a few years. The Browns, to me, this is like a make or break year. Like if they don't even make the playoffs this year, that's one of the things I think they're going to have to, despite of what the record might be. I think they might have to look at the front office to see what they can do. Excuse me, to be able to turn it around because they have really good pieces, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that you have those really good pieces and you're not able to do anything with them. So I'm interested in seeing what they do. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the Bengals on this game. I don't know that I trust. No, I don't trust the Browns. I don't.
I feel you 100%. And obviously, their defense got a little softer as well over the offseason with my
Mm-hmm.
Ravens getting Jadeveon Clowney. So there's
Yeah.
definitely questions to be asked, but I really am a fan of this team. Guys that we shouted out last year, right? Jeremiah Wusu-Koromora. Too difficult of a name to not say at extreme speeds. But
I don't even know how you did that.
I I really am intrigued. I think they have good like top tier options at receiver and running back. So it's like if it doesn't work out, like you said, like you gotta feel like, man, it's time to hit the reset button because of that. Like we were in a good position. It's not like we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
interesting times for sure. I honestly am higher on them than Pittsburgh though. So I'm surprised that you feel that way, but we'll get to them a little bit later. Next up,
Most
the
definitely.
Texans at the Ravens. I'm gonna throw to you because you already know I got a diatribe coming, but please, how do you
Yeah,
feel
oh
about this
yeah.
matchup?
Yeah, Ravens for sure. I don't know how you look at the Texans and in this game and say they're going to do anything. I do expect the Texans to be interesting this year though. I think that's the word I'm going to use for them. They're going to be interesting to watch. I just, they're still on the come up. They still have a lot of pieces, a lot of holes on the roster, different skill positions, but I think they have a good foundation to build on.
For sure.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do this year. But the Ravens are winning. This is not even a question. I like. Then there's no way the Texans can actually go into they're in Baltimore this
Yep.
this week, right? Yeah, there's no way they're gonna go into Baltimore and win that game.
It's time to
There's
defend
no way.
M&T. I'm so
Yeah,
excited for this. Like
yeah,
I don't think you understand. I don't give a fuck. We're gonna talk about Super Bowl positions later. I'll just tell
yeah,
you right now.
yeah,
I'm picking my Ravens to go to Super Bowl. I'm that confident, and you know I don't do that, right? Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
really
for
don't do
sure.
that.
That's wild.
I'm I'm picking my Ravens to go to Super Bowl. I'm that confident. I'm really looking forward to this season, and I think Zay Flowers is undoubtedly our wide receiver one. And the fact that he's our wide receiver one, uh, we're cooking with gas, man. I think people are sleeping on how deep we are at receiver now. From being a team that
Oh yeah, they are.
was known to not be good at all at receiver. I'm excited for
Hmm.
for guys like Duvernay still. That I think the fact that we still have him on the roster, those guys are going to ball out. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a great year too, man. So there's a lot needs to go right. I'm aware. But I'm
Yeah.
really high on my Ravens more than I have been the last couple of years. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how we actually look. Probably nobody else is gonna be watching this game, but I'm gonna be watching this in its entirety, just gloating, just every good thing that happens, tweeting about it, just because I'm so pumped, man.
Oh yeah, man. You know what? I think I'm excited about the Ravens this year. Like was it last year? Yeah, last year where you were a little down on them because of all the injuries and stuff like that. And I was still excited to see what they were able to do. I think that Baltimore has a great shot at making the Super Bowl. I don't know how you look at them and say that they don't. I think they are definitely one of the teams that you have to pay attention to. Especially with Lamar being back. There's no contract issues. Zay Flowers is amazing, man. I don't like that. I was happy for you for sure when you guys got him. So I think Baltimore's gonna be fun to watch. They're gonna be really fun to watch this year. I'm not sure that I'm gonna watch this specific game, but I gotta see what other games are playing on at the same time, and I might tune in for it.
Hey, those red zone alerts will keep you tuned in because I got a good feeling we're
Oh
going to be
yeah,
scoring a lot of points in this one.
yeah,
Sneaky pass rush though from the Texans. I'm interested to see with D'Amico Ryan's what he's able to do with that number 2 pick. Right, love to see. I
yes,
really liked how aggressive they were in that draft, man.
they were.
I think I think they're looking to try to turn this around quick. But I agree. I think they're more in the sort of 5-win range than they were previously, where they were just completely at the bottom of the league, right? So,
Right.
interested to see how
But
they end up.
even if all they did was win 5 games this year, we talked about this before over the last 2 seasons, but your record is not always the same, right? Like the team is not always their record. And I think that even if all they did was win 5 games this year, those are going to be the losses that they have are going to be like those competitive ones. At least a good chunk of them will be those competitive ones where you're just like, that could have gone the other way, man. So I'm excited to see this to see the Texans this year as well. I think D'Amico, I'm always I'm partial to D'Amico Ryans, but I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them. They're at least turning it around. So I'm happy
I
for
knew
them.
you'd like that pull. I knew you'd like
Yeah,
that. That's you got
yeah,
to throw
yeah,
it out
yeah.
there, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Our next matchup, still in this afternoon window, we've got Bucks at the Vikings.
Mm,
Listen, I'm not picking the Bucks to make the playoffs, right? I know I said that earlier. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Me neither.
But I think that what really interests me about this game is the Vikings, right? Like
Hmm.
everything that could have went right for them last season did, and somehow they still ended up getting booted by Danny Dimes and the New York Giants, who I also don't
Yeah,
have making the playoffs this year. So I'm really watching them with a keen eye because they lost a lot of pieces on both sides of the ball. And of course they slotted in some good players too. So it's not
hmm,
as if they just have gaping holes, but I'm really interested to see how their defense performs this year, considering their offense is going to do what it's going to do. I don't expect major regression from Kirk Cousins, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be firing on all cylinders. But it just really all comes down to whether or not they're able to put it together on defense. And I'm not convinced that they really did the moves to totally address that up to this point. Um,
yeah.
Obviously, Alexander Madison, the most presidential RB in the league, now taking that starter spot. Always did good as a backup, right? We saw Tony
Yeah,
Pollard fill that role last season, and now he's expected to be a top 3, top 5 running back this season, right? So, interested to see whether or not he's able to
that's the
take that in
expectation.
stride. No, no, for Tony
Okay.
Pollard, yes. For Tony Pollard, yes.
Okay.
I've seen
Okay.
him getting drafted before top 10 is over.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, like I expect him to have a great year, but top 3 running back in fantasy, or are you talking about in?
In fantasy,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I could
I don't
see
know.
that. I could see that.
Maybe.
No, but
Yeah.
I bring that up to say I don't think that Alexander Madison is on that same trajectory as far as being able to handle
Oh
this
yeah,
level
yeah,
of
yeah.
workload and being able to sort of step into that role in a big way. So
Yeah.
all of those things really have me side eyeing this Vikings team. And if this game ends up being closer than expected, then I'm starting to hit the panic button a little bit.
Hey man, you know what's got me side eyeing the Vikings? They let go of the great Jalen Rager, man. Like, why would you do that? Why would you get rid of that great receiver?
The, the Rager bombs up and down the
Man,
sidelines.
I don't know, man. The Vikings are gonna be the Vikings to me are always one of those teams that you just have to be intrigued by. Like I they're gonna be the Vikings this year. They are. Um, I don't know how far they're gonna go, but the regular season Vikings will be really good. Um, there's no way they lose this. The Bucks, I don't even. What do you think the highest win total for the Bucks could actually be this year?
Ooh, I mean, their division sucks, right? So
Their
that
division is
helps.
trash.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
I think if we're being unrealistic and crazy, 8 games sounds about right. If we're being realistic, I won't be surprised if they're in the conversation for Caleb Williams this year.
Yes,
I think
yes.
I think they could very well, especially if uh, once again, side eyeing the fuck out of these RBs right now. But the fact that playoff Lenny doesn't have a
Yeah.
home and we're just
Yeah.
gung ho on Rashad White, I'm not exactly sure that he is deserving of the hype. I mean, he definitely looked good playing with Tom Brady, but The Brady Bunch is
Yeah.
gone, baby. So I'm definitely side eyeing this team at all angles. I feel bad for Mike Evans because I think he
Yeah.
is still gonna ball as always. Like I think he's somehow still gonna have 1,000 yards this season. But I don't see big things from this Bucks team at all.
Yeah. You think Todd Bowles is fired within the first 8 games? Because
Honestly, I feel like at this
I don't
point
know.
they just let them chill, right? Like we're not. I don't think they're
Yeah.
trying to win this season. And if anyone says that they are, they're fucking lying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Competition is one thing, but as far as being realistic about competing, I don't think they're there at all. So, I
Yeah.
don't see why you move on, right? Like once again, you got your coach, but you're not trying to contend. You can't really punish him for that. But I don't
Hmm.
know. We'll see. Maybe he'll end up retiring too. Who knows? Maybe he'll just say fuck this shit. I don't want to deal with
Yeah.
this at all. Um, and then come back a couple years later like
I'm
Sean
back.
Payton. That was kind of messed up. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll
That
we'll
was
talk
very
about him a
messed
little
up,
later
man.
too.
Yeah.
The next afternoon window game we've got is the Panthers at the Falcons. I feel kind of bad just throwing to you on the terrible games. I swear it's not on purpose, but
It's
how
all
do you feel
good.
about this matchup, Derek?
I I don't know how to feel about this matchup. Like, cause this to me, this one can go either way. To be honest, I, I do like what I'm seeing with the Falcons, though. I do like what they're starting to do. So I might go ahead and lean their way. Um, Bijan Robinson, his debut. So I'm very interested in seeing what he's gonna do. Um, Burns, I think Burns is questionable in terms of what he's actually going to play, right? Because I think there's like some type of dispute.
Yep,
I'm not sure if it's
another
contractually or not.
contract dispute.
Yeah.
But I think as of right now he's supposed to still play, but it's
Okay.
kind of a weird thing.
Okay. I wouldn't play if there's a contract dispute. I'm not playing, man. Like, just truthfully, but I don't know. I think the Panthers are going to be very interesting to watch this year too. Ah, man. Hold on. Why am I blanking? Who's a quarterback right now?
I
I
don't
was
blame
trying.
you because they just drafted him. Bryce Young.
Yeah,
Am I correct in saying
Bryce
that?
Young. Yes, 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 yes. They did. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um. Mm, I got Falcons playing this. I don't see. I don't know. I don't know. I think Young is gonna be a good option for them, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Because you think about like his weapons. You got Miles Sanders, who I think is gonna be very interesting for Carolina. I'm not sure that he's gonna go for um I'm not sure he's gonna have as much success this year as he did last year. But I think he's gonna be a very good option for them. Um, I don't know, man. You got Hayden Hurst there too, right? At
Yep.
tight end.
Adam Adam Thielen's gone though,
Adam
so
Thielen, yeah. Atlanta's winning this one, man. The more I'm thinking about it, Atlanta's winning this one. I'm not sure because Frank Reich is the coach for Carolina too. I think he's gonna be a very good. I think he's gonna have a good year, coaching wise. But
hmm.
I don't think you can really expect much from Carolina this year.
I love that you get had this take because I feel the exact opposite. I'm going with the Panthers here, and I
Yeah.
really like their upside, man. I think they have a really strong line on both sides of the ball, and I think that's what
Hmm.
really separates them from me. I am not a believer at all in Desmond Ritter, like at all.
Yeah.
Like I,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of what I've seen from Bryce Young. I think he has a real chance to compete for that offensive rookie of the year. Um, I I don't know what it is about the Falcons. I just can't take them seriously as an organization. Like I feel like
Hmm.
they, I get, I get what you're going for, and I think they have a really dynamic offense. Um, but I really just feel like they can't cover anybody, and building a team this way is kind of weird to me. I like their run
Yeah.
game, right? They have a three-headed beast now with the addition of Bijan and Tyler Algier still there, so they've got
And
some real
Cordell
backs.
Patterson.
Yeah, and he's an
Who can
afterthought at this point. Yeah, he can do
Yeah,
everything.
he
He'll
can line
probably
up
be in the
anywhere.
slot. Yeah, probably be in the slot
Yeah.
majority of the season. So offensively, I expect them to be dynamic, but I just think once again, you go as far as your quarterback goes, and I really didn't like what I saw from him last season. So a lot of
Yeah.
side
Yeah, I
eyes
agree with
coming
that.
from me, and that's why I'm picking. But I can see Derrick Grady going off, right? Just getting all the
Yes.
sacks. A guy that
Yes.
completely opened my eyes last season. I remember texting you about it, like, "Yo, have you heard about this dude? Because dude is balling right now."
Yeah. Yeah, he
So
is.
yeah,
Yeah, he was.
I think it is a close game. But I like the Panthers, man. I think sneaky. I was saying this last year, right? If they had
Hmm.
a quarterback that could do something, they might get somewhere. And I
Yeah.
like what they're building a little bit more than the Falcons, just at the moment. But
I think the I do think the Panthers are more stable right now than the Falcons. I just it's something about Miles Sanders right now. I don't know.
I didn't expect this from you. I expected
That's
the other. I think he's gonna have much more opportunity to do well. Whether or not the line holds up, that's the question, right? Like whether or not the line is
right.
able to hold up. I just think he's gonna be a 3 down back. Like I think he's gonna ball out. I've been drafting him as my flex in a lot of different leagues just because the opportunity is there. Whether or not he can hold up, you know better than me, and that's probably why you're worried.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man, cuz like one of his biggest issues was being able to hold the ball, like to actually be secure with the ball. He fumbled that ball way too much.
Yep.
And I think that's possibly what this game could come down to a lot is ball security. And I just don't trust him right now with that. Like I was talking myself into it last year, but even last year it was just like, come on, man. Come on. You're dropping the ball at the most inopportune times. And that was with the best offensive line. You don't have that anymore. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So that's where I'm kind of like you just like iffy. I wish the best for him. Like I love Miles Sanders. I just don't know. I don't know what you're gonna get from him this year.
Mhm.
You
And
know?
all fair, man. That's what makes this shit so fun, man.
Yeah.
I've been so giddy all week. So yeah, getting into these
Yeah.
conversations, man. Sometimes you're talking is just a fever dream, man. I'm seeing things, right? Like you're talking, I'm just astro projecting the season as you speak.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know why we're this excited for this shitty ass matchup. Next up, Cardinals at the Washington Commanders. Another shit bowl, if you ask me. Um,
Yes. Yes, the biggest of them.
Arizona is the favorite to get the number one pick next season, and I think rightfully so. This is a
Yeah.
drop off that I did not anticipate, man. That this is how fast this league turns around, though. For real,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have saw this 2 years ago. Felt like we were in for sort of a dynasty in that division, right? Looking at the Rams too.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those teams sort of fell off, so I wonder if there's some sort of
Yeah.
curse there. We got to keep our eyes on. But
Yeah.
watch the Commanders. A lot of good things coming out of camp with Sam Howell and of course Eric Bieniemy's offense. Um, there's one funny story though that I think I need to mention to you. So
Yeah.
Ron Rivera came out during the preseason and admitted that some of the players on the team were coming to him and saying that they weren't a fan of Eric Bieniemy's coaching style, that he was being a little too overbearing with them. What are your thoughts on that even being a narrative, right? That coming out in the media, and secondly, the fact that something like that needs to be considered when you're getting paid money to play fucking damn football.
Man, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I think there's a lot of soft players in the league. Like and the Commanders have a lot of soft players on their roster. Right? Like if you have an issue with being coached by someone like oh he's being too what hard on me. Come on, bro. Come on, man. You're an adult. You're not a
Yep.
child. You're not a child. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport, right? Like coaching is a part of that sport. If you have a problem with being coached hard, you should not be playing that sport, right? Now, and that's another thing too. Like not everybody can accept communication the same way, right? So I get it. But if that's something you're complaining about, that's an issue. But you know what the bigger issue is? Ron Rivera saying that. That's the bigger issue. I don't even understand why that was even a thing. Like to me, you should keep all that stuff in house, right? You know
Yeah.
why? Because that's bulletin board material for players for teams, and not the Cardinals. Like the Commanders are definitely winning this game, but
Yep.
actual like really good teams, that's bulletin board material for them, right? So I don't know, man. I think if you again if you have players that are saying this about the enemy, I think that's an issue, and that tells me about them and like what they're actually going to be able to do this season, right? I think McLaurin was on, I believe it was Terry McLaurin that was on the pivot a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about what their goals were for this season and how, of course, talking about like every other team, like Super Bowl. We're trying to strive to be our best every day and all that stuff. If that's the attitude of the whole team, cool. That should be the attitude of the team. But if you have players on that team that are saying, "Oh, you coached me too hard," come on, man.
Good fucking luck, right?
Like, what? There's the furthest you're gonna be able to get is like maybe 8 wins with that kind of mentality.
Yeah. Which is right
You
where
don't
I
like
got
being
them.
coached hard? That's trash.
Which is right where I got them. I think they're gonna be better,
Yeah,
but good,
yeah.
probably not. I love the way you broke this down because I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's some 3D chess here. You ready? Hear me out.
Okay,
I think Riverboat Ron has been on the hot seat for a couple years now, and I think rightfully so. I think there might be some sort of public steering of the boat here, right? Trying to make
okay,
sure that nobody's encroaching on his team. I think that might be a part
okay.
of it, right? Because why else would you do that? Like, who are you trying to hold accountable? Are you trying to get him to
Right,
tone it down? Like,
right.
what's the goal here? So interesting little wrinkle to a team that might be at some point in the season fully transferring over to the Bienemy train. Who knows, right? Who knows at this
Yeah.
stage? Because not many coordinators get paid that well.
Right. That would make a lot of sense. I never thought about that. That's a very good opportunity. If that's the play, that's a good perspective, bro. I didn't even think about that. That's really good. And like, are they
Yeah,
going to actually keep Chase Young?
yeah,
Because
that's another one.
if they're not, which I think even with the injuries, you can look at Young and be like, that's a player that you can build with, right? And when he's fully healthy, there's not a bad thing you can say about Chase Young, right? But I don't understand the and maybe it's one of those things where you're just like not signing him now to to maybe make it better for you in the future cap wise.
Yeah,
But he's someone that, I think you can have a team friendly contract with. If you're
yeah,
scared about his health, I think that's a part of the negotiation tactic right there, right?
it's a
I
great
don't know,
shout.
man. I don't know. The Commanders are a very interesting team. They're under new ownership now, so we'll see what does the curse is the curse lifted. Is the curse now lifted from Washington? I'm intrigued to see. They're not winning more than 8 games. I don't 9 at the most. They might look like a team that can actually win more than that, but I think at the end of the day they're not gonna shake out to more than about 9.
My last question for you on this: did the Carson Wentz era last longer or shorter than you thought it would in Washington?
To be honest, man, I really thought by the time they decided to move on from him and bench him, I thought that was long overdue.
Yeah,
He's one of those guys that I think is an interesting player because skill wise, he should be one of the top QBs in the league. It's just mentally, I don't think that he has it. He's not that kind of guy, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I read a report like 2 weeks ago that the Chiefs were looking at him as a backup option, which I think that would be pretty good. If you were able to get Wentz as a backup option, I think that'd be good. I don't think he can be your starter. a backup QB to come in and play like maybe 2, 3 games a year, whether it's for injury or because you're in the playoffs already and you just don't want your starter to get hurt. I think that makes all the sense in the world. But Carson Wentz, like QB1, those days are over. So the experiment in Washington actually played out kind of how I think most of us expected it to play out, with him not on the roster the next season.
Clearly not Washington though, because they paid him so much money to just
Right.
not be playing by week what was it, like week 8 or something like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. That was wild. I mean, hey, look, Carson Wentz, look, get your money back, bro. I can salute that. I'm so glad he's not on my team anymore. I'm so glad, man. He changed his something in him changed when Jadeveon Clowney speared him in the head. Like when
That'll
that
do it to you.
yeah, something in him changed because he's not been the same.
Yeah.
Since that hit, he has not been the same player. So who knows, man?
I can't get that image out of my head of that fucking suit that he wore when he announced the signing, and this man just looked like a walking glizzy, right in time for barbecue season. Just a
Yeah,
shame. It's a shame the way
yeah.
this all played out. I can't believe once again that somebody was willing to pay him that much. But hey, Matt Ryan got paid to play last year too, so who the fuck
Right.
knows?
And hey, look, Tampa Bay might go get him. Like if things don't shake out
Oh,
down there, Tampa might be a good spot for him.
god
Warm
damn, that
weather,
was the last name to think would start a game this year at all. So damn, that'll be a deep
hey,
cut right there.
or the Rams.
Last thought, I promise. The fact that there's actually talk about changing the name again of this team is fucking
Yeah,
crazy to me. And I think
yeah.
it's real. Like I think this is gonna
Oh, it's
happen
real.
next season. Like I
Yeah,
think that I can't. I mean, Commanders, we
yeah.
knew it was not the way since last time. So who knows? Maybe in a couple of weeks if they shit the bed and they're just absolutely fumbling out the gate, we just go to old WFT again. I'm down to do that. We could
Oh,
just WFT.
I actually liked the Washington football team.
What? What?
I liked it. Like after a while, like, it sounded stupid as hell, but it's like you think about it, like especially when they're beating teams they shouldn't have beaten. It's like you lost to the Washington football team. It was a good like jab at, especially when like the Cowboys lost. Like, come on, you lost to a team with no name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's ridiculous. That I love that aspect of it. But honestly, the name kind of grew on me toward the end of that season. I if they change it from the Commanders to something else, I don't know what you're gonna do. I'm not a fan of them anyway, so it's like whatever. But what could they change it to?
If you could name them, what would you name them right now?
Uh,
Because I got one.
NFC
I'm
East
ready.
basement. I
I'm
don't
ready,
know.
bro. I'm ready.
What
Are
would you
you are
name
you
them?
ready? The
Yeah.
Washington Warlocks. We get a fucking mascot with a staff. It'll be amazing, bro. Let's
Oh,
do it.
like the Wizards.
No, but not the Wizards, not the
Right, right, but
Warlocks.
but
You know what I'm
but playing
saying?
but playing
Yeah.
on that whole magic. Oh, I can see that.
Come on, bro.
I can see that.
The only thing that can
They need to
erase the
hire you.
stains, the only thing that can erase the stains of racism is magic, baby. That's the only thing.
Yeah, if that. Look, it's either magic or reparations. One of the two, man.
One of the two, and unfortunately, it looks like the other one's not coming. So we got to figure this out. What
Yeah.
would your name be? You can't shoot me one.
uh, a Washington football team.
Washington fuck team. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Let's go
believe we
back to
talked
that.
this much about this damn team. Next up, still in this afternoon window, we got the Niners going up against the Steelers. This I am sneaky excited for this game. Um,
Yeah.
what are your first of all, I'm gonna start with the hard hitting questions, and then I'll give the
Yeah.
first pick, right? Because I've been throwing you a lot.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel a little tough on this one.
All good.
How do you feel about Brock Purdy's upside moving forward?
I put it like this, man. He didn't scare me when he played the Eagles. And I know people, you say whatever you want to say about him. I think he's a good quarterback. I think people started naming him like trying to anoint him as like a Hall of Fame player way too soon. Like that was ridiculous. Just because he had a couple of good games, he looked good. But it's also like who are you playing against, right? And so as soon as you go up against a really good team, that's what happens, right? He couldn't get anything going. No QB
Hey,
could get anything going
hey,
that
a
game.
really good team. The first really good team he played was not the Eagles, brother. I'm gonna be honest.
Look, no, okay, maybe not, but I'm saying like once you're going against like that type of defense, though, that's
Yeah,
the type of performance you put up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like I think he's a good QB. I just think that people put too much pressure on him again with anointing him as a Hall of Fame level player and saying like he was. I heard people comparing him to Tom Brady. It's just ridiculous, man.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. Let him develop. I think he's in a really good situation to develop.
The best, I
I
would
think
argue.
yeah. I mean, it's a good situation. I mean, it sucks that what happened with Trey Lance because I think not much is being said about what San Francisco gave up to get Trey Lance to then go for Purdy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, but if you have to cut your losses, you have to cut your losses. I just don't know what to expect from Purdy because I like put it like this, okay? I find it ridiculous that people were able to project Purdy like that the way they did in his first year. But when it came to Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, like other guys had to develop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
We know what that's
We
about,
know
though.
why. We know why.
Mhm.
We know why. But come on.
And,
Like, give
and
me a
and you
break.
know what's funny too? He plays a mobile style, right? So that's the
That's what I'm
comparison,
so
right?
confused.
That's the fucking
Right.
comparison, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We
So
see
like
we
you
see through
can't
it.
yeah, because you can't say that about him, but that you just want to wait and see for other guys.
Yeah.
The black guys you gotta wait and see. The white guys you don't. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that, man. Like let's just keep it 100 and play on the same playing field. If Hertz and Jackson had to be guys that you had to wait and see on, even Trey Lance, guys, some of you're still waiting to see what he can do. Um, if you had to wait and see for those type of players, let's just wait and see for Brock Purdy. I have nothing against him, right? I just don't know what to expect from him at this point. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Especially
I
coming
think it's
off
gonna
that
be good,
injury.
especially coming off that injury. So let's just
Great.
wait and see.
I love the takes, man. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm more of a fan of his upside. I was actually pretty impressed by what he was able to do, especially in that Kyle Shanahan offense. I think he,
Yeah, yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, the weapons are fucking remarkable if we're being real. Like
yeah,
the weapons
yeah.
are insane, and then the defense, right? Like insane defense that got even better, and you would know that better than anyone, right? Insane. So I think this is in my opinion, one of the best teams in the league. And even if you're not doing well as a quarterback, you're still going to put yourself in a good position, right? We've seen what they've been able to do
Mm-hmm.
with Jimmy G at the helm. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think there is a scenario though that come week 5, Sam Darnold is starting and cooking. I think that that's a real possibility, just because the offense is set in stone, right? And I feel like he is someone that could run that offense, a mobile guy, a big guy, a durable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if coming off of that injury, there is some rust. But as far as peak of powers and what we saw he was able to do, I'm actually really intrigued, man. I really liked what I saw. The injury sucked, and I think definitely that was one of the worst games that he had, right? But I don't
Yeah,
blame him for having a bad game against a historically great team. So, um,
for sure.
just gotta say it.
For sure.
Just
Yeah,
gotta say it. But
because they are.
because people are forgetting, people are forgetting.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later too. But
Yeah.
We talked a lot about the Niners. This Steelers team is on the up and up as well, man. I think they're
Yes.
really deep at all skill positions on offense, and of course their defense just continues to get better as well. Signing Pat Pete, which is
Yeah.
exciting time considering a veteran leadership on a defense, especially in that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
If they could pick up the slack for everything that's going to be going down in the trenches for them, I think they have top 10 defense upside.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm looking at that QB position, man, and it all comes down to Kenny Littlefingers Pickett and whether or not he's able to turn things around in year two with all the weapons that he has. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Niners here. I think it's pretty easy to make that call. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I could see a less than 20 points situation for both of these teams, and the Steelers are known to come out top of games like that. So this is a sneaky trap game here. But I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners as well. I think that I'm I'm high on the Steelers though. I think if you
Oh man.
could do what you did last year without Watt for as long as he was out, like if they could do that with him back, I'm intrigued. Pickens looks really good. Najee Harris is Najee Harris. I'm intrigued to see what their ceiling is going to be this year.
I
They're going to
agree.
have fun games. This is going to be a team that um even if for some reason they don't make the playoffs, I think they're going to be one of those teams that you're looking at and just like they got next, like in terms of competing and contending for at least the conference championship. I think they could be one of those teams that you look at and say that they might be coming pretty soon.
Hey, yo.
Pause. My bad.
God damn. God damn, bro. We were doing so well. We were doing so well. No, but I couldn't agree with you more, man. I've been on a couple shows already making predictions about this, and I was saying, like I said, I really like this team's upside much more than the Browns. These are two. I'll give you two
Yeah, yeah,
names
yeah.
that nobody's talking about. You ready? Jalen Warren and Deontay Johnson. They are the
Yes.
second options on their
Yes.
team, but I won't be
Yes.
surprised if come the end of the season, they're more productive than the guys ahead of them that everyone's looking at in
Mhm.
George Pickens and Najee Harris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. And of course Tomlin is just gonna be Tomlin. I'm 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 excited to see what the Steelers do this year.
Yes, sir. But it's going to be an
And
L for
let me ask you
us.
this.
Yep.
Let me just ask you this though. If if by the end of the season they're one of those teams that are on the outside looking in, right? Are there any changes that you see that they need to make? Do they need to make a change at quarterback, or do they need to hold out and just keep pushing with Pickett? Because I think one of the things that I hate seeing is that players are not allowed to develop anymore.
Yep.
Right? Players are a lot of players. It's like either you get it in year one, or year two, or you're done, type of thing. And I don't know when that whole thing started because it used to be where players sat behind, veteran players and learned for a year or two, and then went. But then, when of course, when you get drafted to be the guy, like I don't know. Do you think that they could move on from him though that this year if they don't do what they're supposed to do?
Man, I'm of two considerations on this one. I think he is a hometown guy, right? Like you don't want to let
Right,
go of that. And I think
right.
those last 9 games, like I was super impressed. Like I didn't obviously they had that big week one win against the Bills, right? That was week one, right? Fucking crazy.
I think so.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
But after that, they kind of just the issues with both sides of the line after TJ Watt went down, and then just
Hmm.
constantly dealing with pressure. Like that is the
Yeah.
key change for me more so than anything. Like I get why you double down on your defense, but I was surprised that they didn't really fortify their offensive line as much as you would like, right? I think they might have poached one of your guys though, right? If I'm not mistaken on that.
Yeah. I believe they got Siamalo.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
they got
So
Samalo, which is a
a
good
good
start.
piece, a good piece,
Good
yeah.
start. Yeah.
But
Good
not
start.
not the difference maker that you need to really turn things around.
No. No,
And
no, no.
that was the problem. Like especially towards that latter half of the season, they didn't fix the line. They just changed the
Right.
scheme. They started running a lot of
Yeah.
quicker motions and sweeps and things like that, which makes sense. Um,
Mhm.
I think, like you said, you gotta you gotta let your players develop, but at the same time, if they do decide to move on from him that quick, there must be something we're not seeing, right? And I think this season we'll get those answers. But I thought the way they closed out that season was big time. Like they really showed a lot, and I won't be surprised, like I said, if they make the playoffs this year at all.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the Jaguars coming up against the Colts. I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna sound weird to you. Hear me out
No, it's
here.
not.
Hear me
No, it's
out.
not.
Man, it feels good to have the Jaguars be a good team again because
Yes.
it's a nostalgic thing for me. Like
Yeah.
it's bringing me back to when I first became a fan of the sport, right? Like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jags were an institution, and
Yeah.
I think they're back in the big time, man. This is going to be a fun matchup. I also like what the Colts are building. I
Mhm.
think they're in a similar spot though to that team we talked about earlier, the Falcons, your hometown team, where you're not really sure where we're gonna go. I think they have so many studs on defense
Yeah.
that their offensive issues aren't gonna be as heir apparent, right? But I think with everything going on with Jonathan Taylor and that whole debacle, you mentioned earlier that the worst
Mhm.
option could have been drafting Cooper Cup. I think the worst option is drafting Jonathan Taylor early on. I was actually able to trade him in Dynasty earlier this year for two first round
Oh,
picks. Literally straight two
good.
first round picks just for Jonathan Taylor before any of the news came out. And then everything
Nice.
sort of unfolded there. So felt good to catch that wave. That's a league actually, funny enough, that it started this year. It started this year, and I'm full in on tanking. I am full in on being bad for the next
Wow.
two seasons. So
Wow.
excited because in my other dynasty league, I'm in a position to contend. So it's like I got a good balance of things going on
Yeah.
here. But really I'm excited to see Anthony Richardson. The hype is real. I'm just gonna say this.
Mm.
There has been a lot of talk about the mechanic shift because he apparently worked with the same people that worked with Josh Allen to get his mechanics shortened. And obviously, we saw same kind of developmental player, right, as far as arm talent,
Mhm.
but not being proven as a shot caller. So I'm really intrigued on whether or not the Anthony Richardson experience is one that plays out throughout the entire season. I won't be surprised if we see Gardner Minshew for extended periods because I think his style of play just potentially leads to more injuries. That's just me being honest. So I
Yeah.
think Gardner Minshew is a sneaky backup guy to have maybe with the last pick in a standard league if you want to go deep on your regular skill positions and just say, fuck it, my backup QB will be a backup. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
somebody to look at with good upside in that way. But I think as far as long term prospects, I like him a lot more. Short term, I'm not really too high on the Colts. I think their defense is going to take them as far as they can. But if
Mhm.
the offense is able to click to any capacity, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be fucking surprised. Like I think a
Yeah.
lot needs to go right for that to work out in year one, and I'm not willing to bet on that. I'm a big fan of what the Jaguars are building too. Trevor Lawrence. I got. Do you know who Patty Pimblett is? Patty the Batty.
No. No.
Okay, he's a UFC fighter. I call him NFL's Patty. He is the Patty. He looks just like him. The long, luscious gold hair flowing in the wind. I think they want him more than anyone to be the face of the NFL. Just
Yeah, yeah,
they,
yeah.
they
They do.
they love them some young handsome white dudes. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I think he's for real. And behind Doug Peterson, there is no ceiling to where this team could go this season. I really am big on them and have been targeting a lot of their players in fantasy.
You
Derrick,
should.
how you feeling about this matchup?
Bro, I think the Jaguars are I'm expecting them to pick the Colts apart in this game. I think one of the players who I wanted in Philly, right? Um Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley is going to have a monster year this year. I think he's one of those guys. If you can get, especially like in flex, oh man, I think you're sitting pretty. Calvin's gonna have a nice year this year, but you're talking about like with Doug Peterson, like we saw what they did last year, right? And it was just like the first year of them together. I think having more time under their belt, and yo, Doug Peterson cut his own son from the team, man. I think that it's very you didn't
I didn't
see
hear
that.
about that. That's hilarious. No way.
He cut his own son from the team. I
I don't
think
blame him.
there's a
Fuck them
certain
kids.
level, yeah, right. There's a certain level of uh gumption you have to do something like that, right? Because you want to see your child succeed, bro. To cut your own
Ruthless.
son from the team, that is next level. That's the next level lock in right there, right for me. Doug, I expect Peterson. I'll make a prediction right here. I think Doug Peterson is going to be one of the finalists, if not Coach of the Year. I
Great
think
show.
he'll be one of the finalists for it. They're going to have a very, very nice year this year. And I think they're going to run all over the Colts week one. So
Mhm.
I'm going with it.
Craziest shit
Jaguars.
craziest shit I ever seen in, well, no, I lied. Two of the craziest things I've ever seen in fantasy football happened this season. One of them
Mm-hmm.
was Trevor Lawrence going first overall in redraft.
Wait,
First
what?
overall in redraft, and this was a money league. This is not no I'm fucking
People actually put
around.
money.
This is a money league. And they drafted Trevor Lawrence first overall. So that blew my fucking head up. And then
Wow.
and then the second one, completely unrelated, but I had to tell you because this happened last night. I got
Mm.
screenshots, bro. I'll send it to you. Somebody drafted Antonio Gibson with the 10th overall pick. Wild times. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these people. Both of them. But I will say
They're not trying to win.
I do agree with the upside of Trevor Lawrence for this season and whether or not he could be in
Yes.
competition for that QB1 range. I think he's gonna have a similar breakout season to Joe Burrow in his second year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all plays out for the Jags. I'm picking them here. Are
Yeah.
you as well? Did you say? Yeah.
Yeah. But saying that's the thing. He could have that kind of year. But you don't draft him number one overall. Like he's someone you can actually target for your backup quarterback.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Uh, Someone drafted last night, someone drafted Mahomes number one overall. And I was like, I get it, but no,
But
I
I
don't.
don't.
I
Yeah.
because that's something you can get in a fourth or fifth round, because especially
Yeah.
because how deep these wide receiver and running back positions are. Why would you draft
In
Mahomes number
super
one
flex,
overall?
I feel like it's more of an argument, but in standard, it
Yeah,
makes no sense. Like it
it makes
literally
no sense
makes
in
no
standard.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't get drafting a quarterback number one overall at all. So hey,
Hmm.
that's someone
Yeah.
that's not trying to win.
Because your mid level guys are going to be getting you similar production when your mid level receivers are going to be nowhere near. So I agree 100%.
Yep.
Anyway, I love how we're getting all these fantasy tangents here. I just keep
Yeah,
I
man.
just was shocked by both of those. I was like, nah, I got to share this. But next up, final 1 o'clock game. We've got the Titans coming up against the Saints in New Orleans. I'll let you
Yes,
take
sir.
the lead on this one. How you feeling?
I got the Saints in this one, bro. I think the Saints are going to be one of those teams that are going to, okay, not saying that it's going to happen, but I think they could be one of those sneaky picks for making a nice playoff run this
Yeah,
year.
I agree.
I think they could. I think they could. I think you got Derek Carr there. I think he's going to um I think he's going to change the narrative on his career a little bit with this move to New Orleans. I think it's going to be a very good one. I think it's going to be a very good one. He to me he was already a good quarterback, but I think he'll be an even better one in with the Saints. So
I agree.
they could actually win the division. They could easily win the division this year.
I'm picking them to win the division for sure.
Yeah, I don't see how you pick against them honestly. Um, I think it's gonna be a I think it's gonna be a rough game for the Titans.
Yeah, for sure.
D
I'm
Hop
a
is gonna
fan.
go off though.
I was about to say I'm a fan of D Hop's upside though, especially in this scenario.
Yeah,
Do you okay? I got a couple questions, right? But I'm gonna make my pick
yeah,
too, just off the top, just so we get it out the way. I agree. I'm
yeah,
going with the Saints too. Um, First thing, Breesy, do you love me? I'm gonna give you a little name so that you remember this. Brian Breesy, the rookie DN for this team, is gonna ball out, man.
yep,
The dude is a monster. He
yep,
he was going crazy in preseason, and I
yeah,
think he'll continue to do that. And all the names they got there, Cam Jordan, all those savages, like if their offense is able to produce, I won't be surprised at all if they're a 12-win team, to be honest. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
they can be
yeah,
that good. It just really comes down to the offense. And I would love to see Michael Thomas make a comeback in fantasy as well. And Alvin Kamara. I feel like they could really potentially
yeah.
make a big leap back. I saw this meme. It was I know you've seen this video before, but some guy, he's like in the back of a school bus. And then it's like that one dude that's always picking Michael Thomas every year, and he's like, "He looks really beautiful to me." Like,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I feel
I
like
think
this is the year. If there ever was a year, this is the year to draft Michael Thomas with one of your late picks.
I'm gonna be honest. If I were Michael Thomas, I would have switched to tight end. He looks
God
he looks
damn,
like he added, I think he added some muscle. He looks a little bigger. Pause. But I think that I think he's in order to extend his career a little bit more, to me, I think the move to tight end might make a little more sense for him at this point.
damn,
Because I think he could do because he could be one of those gadget players you have, right?
yeah.
It would be interesting to see what he does. I'm not drafting him, but I think it'd be very interesting to see what he does. This year, I'm not playing around, bro. I haven't in any draft. I have not gone for anybody that's got even a lowercase q question mark on themselves. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
It's like, I've been
It's
burned enough.
way too much, way too much trying to get a project and yeah, it got hurt. So, but I would love to see Michael Thomas make a comeback this year. Now Kamara is suspended, I think, the first 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's yeah, four
Um,
actually.
4. So I think he has enough time to build up and come in, see what he can do this year. I would love to see both of them, like you said, I would love to see both of them make a return as a high impact fantasy player. But if I'm betting on one, it's gonna be Kamara. I'm not betting on Michael Thomas anymore.
I agree, and I might not even throw more than $1 on that, but I agree. If you're
Right.
betting on anyone, it is Alvin Kamara. Next up, our first 4:30 game in that after late afternoon window. We've got the Raiders up against the Broncos, the tried and true divisional game, divisional matchup. Sean Payton doing the damn thing, about to turn around this Broncos team, the team that I picked to win the division. Do you remember that? You remember that? Hey, I gotta bring it up before you do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get called out. But I definitely made that pick. I'm not feeling the same way at all this year. I'm actually
Yeah.
very, very worried about Russell Wilson. Um, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Broncos here. I think the fact that Jimmy G is a starter and the fact that all the rave about this team is that they're gonna compete this year is fucking insane to me. I like their rookie D end as well though. They've gotten some real big help in that front with Max Crosby, so I think they're gonna be a great
Right.
team defensively as I anticipated them to be last year too, but that didn't work out. Um I definitely think the Raiders are 2 steps behind where the Broncos are, and the Broncos
Yes.
are not running up on a division win either. So I think
Yes.
this game will be competitive and gritty though, and I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered from Russell Wilson, but I'm still gonna pick the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos on this one. I the Raiders. I just don't trust them, man. I don't trust them. Not right now. I think you got put it like this. Josh McDaniels is the head coach, right? Anytime he's the head coach, I got a question mark on that team. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't trust McDaniels. So, um, Broncos are winning this one. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I'm hoping Russ returns to form. I'm hoping he does because I want to see him actually get back to playing like he usually plays. Um,
Wow.
if he
So
doesn't,
real quick, I just need to cut you off here because I'm stunned
yeah,
by this. Apparently, within the last 10 hours, Chandler Jones posted on IG that if Josh
yes,
McDaniels is the head coach, that he's not playing. What the fuck? Isn't there a Patriot
yo,
connection here? Like, why? What?
yeah, I think I was just about to get to that, but Chandler Jones is he's definitely not playing this game. That's another reason why I'm choosing the Broncos. But McDaniels, it's just weird because like you hear all these complaints about McDaniels from different players, but like he's always able to find his way into getting these type of positions and stuff like that. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not the first time we've heard a player actually speak out against McDaniels. Um, but it's weird that it's happening right now.
Yeah.
He had to go work out at a I don't know which gym it was, but he couldn't work out at a team facility. They locked him out.
What? Really? That's
Yes,
insane. What the
yes.
hell?
I think it was yesterday, and he went on this whole rant on IG yesterday that he ended up deleting. But yeah, like I just there's something that's weird that's going on with the Raiders, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
And how big of an idiot does Devonte Adams feel right now?
I couldn't agree
Like I
more.
get
You
it.
know what's so funny though? No matter what what app you're using for your draft, they still got
Yeah.
that fucking Patriots photo up. I don't know why. It's been like 2 years, bro. Change the fucking jersey. Like it's over for. But yeah, I
I
agree.
don't.
That's a tough move to make for sure. I mean, not that he
Yeah.
would be in a much better place really with the Packers this season, but I don't know. A lot of
Yeah.
people actually have good things to say about Jordan Love. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, man, just weird stuff all around here with this team. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, man, it's weird.
All right, next
But
up, Eagles at the Patriots in New England. Kind of weird, in my opinion. I think if you go to Super Bowl, you should have your first game at home. Is
I
that a
agree
hot
with
take?
that. No, it's
Wow.
not a hot take. I agree with that. And I think the only reason why it's not happening is because it's the Eagles.
Yeah, maybe
Why
maybe if
why are they not opening up at home?
the fans climbed a few less poles, maybe we'd be in a better position. Who knows? But yeah, I don't like that at all. I feel like you at least earned that. But anyway, starting the year off with Mac Jones. Mac
Yeah.
Jones. Um, I'll make my pick first, and then I'm gonna let you just let you go. But um,
Sure.
I'm really excited for the Eagles this season. I think you guys had some of the steals of the draft in multiple different positions. Um, this is the Philly Bulldogs, baby. Jalen Carter is going to be a monster. He's my pick for defensive rookie of the year. I think that's pretty much a lock in my opinion. And god damn, like this team is scary, bro. No
Yeah.
matter how you slice it, um,
Yeah.
I've been getting as many shares of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith as I can. I think there's real chances that Devontae Smith is the wide receiver one this year. Don't at me. I think there is a real chance for that. I think he is that kind of player. But both of those guys are going to ball out either way. Um, I think the running game is going to be even better than it was last year, and it was really, really good last year. Um,
Mm,
there's just a lot to be happy about for this team. I think what is a little scary though is that we're assuming that a lot of the replacement options are going to be equal value to the players we had last season. And obviously you made a Super Bowl run, right? So the players were in place. I think if some of those guys don't play up to snuff, there could be a little bit of a drop off there, but I still think no matter what, if they're not in your top three power rankings, you're just lying. You're just a hater. I'm
yeah.
definitely picking the Eagles here, hands down. I think the Patriots are gonna be sneaky good, but I don't think they're a playoff team. So I think the Eagles really cook them here at home.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, honestly with the positions of the players that they lost or in this offseason to what they, who they actually gained, I think they upgraded. So I'm actually expecting them to have similar success. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say the record. I'm not gonna say the record, but I think they're gonna have similar success this season as they did last year. You're saying that the Ravens are gonna make the Super Bowl. I think it's extremely possible that they do. Um, and if they do, they're facing the Eagles. I don't care who's coming out of
He's
the
locking
AFC.
it
They're
in.
facing the Eagles. The Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl this year because they are the best team in the NFC. Like it's there's no other way to shake it.
I like it.
Especially with the draft that they had this year. You got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. That
Yep.
that wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't expecting that to happen. I didn't expect Jalen Carter to even be there by the time we drafted. You know
Me
what I'm
neither.
saying?
Me neither.
So I was just there was no way that should have happened. But I think that the Eagles, like I said, got better, especially in the run game. Like I said, Miles Sanders, as good as he was last year, he there were moments where you're just like, bro, come on, man. Like is his routes were weird to me at a lot of points. Um, but you got DeAndre Swift, you got Rashad Penny. I think those are two really good players. Um, but then also, guess what? The defensive coordinator is gone. Jonathan Gannon is gone, and I'm glad. He finally admitted that he is the reason why we lost the Super Bowl, which I'm glad he could admit that because he is. Aside from all the other stuff that took place, he is the main reason why we lost the Super Bowl this year. So yeah, I think the Eagles are on an extremely powerful mission this year to get back to win it all. You said that AJ Brown or that the Devontae Smith is wide receiver one. They're both wide receiver ones to me. I don't even think that they both got named captain yesterday, I believe. So I think that the ability to get that honor and be looked at as wide receiver ones, both of them, there is wide receiver one, wide receiver one. I don't see how there is a two. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think they're on a mission. Jalen Hurts is extremely locked in. Um, I want to say of all the matchups this week, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna make this prediction. I think Hertz has the best performance of any QB this week.
Wow. Against the Patriots too.
Yeah,
That's bold. That's bold. I like it.
yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna go
Judah
ahead
gonna
and
have
say
something
that.
to say about it. I'm gonna be real. Judah gonna have something to say
Hey,
about it, but I like it. I like it.
hey, look, the
What I
Niners did
meant
too.
too.
The Niners did too. The Niners had
You're
something
right.
to say about it too, right?
You're right. You're
So
right. I just gotta be real though. I gotta be real.
yeah,
When it comes down to this team, what really excites me too, like you said, is how locked in you guys are. Like the fact that honestly, I didn't like that he said no to the quarterback show because I like the show, right?
I
Like
know,
I
right?
wanted to
Yeah, yeah,
see it.
yeah. I
But
know.
I get it, and I think that renewed sort of sense of focus is big time here. I just think the matchup isn't that easy to look impressive. So if you're right, it, we got problems. I just gotta say though, as far as what I meant for wide receiver one, I didn't mean like they're one on a team or
Oh
they
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah,
one. I
yeah,
meant he would
yeah.
be the more productive of the two. Um,
For sure, for
but
sure. I got you.
I think either way, man. What's really missing though, if there's one thing you could point to, right? If there's one thing you're like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I wish we got this. What would that be for you?
I really wanted Buda Baker. I
I was
really,
about to say that position.
I'm sorry, yeah, but that's who I really want, and I think it's still possible before the end of the year. We do trade for him. Um, Not to say that we don't have any good players there. I think we do. I think that I think Howie did a phenomenal job of um of bringing in players to offset who we lost, right?
Yeah.
But I think if there's a move to be made, that would probably be one of them. And that's just to make sure you're shoring up everything and just is it necessary? No, but because I think that defensive line is the scariest one in the league right now. That's
Yeah.
scary because you have the backups are starters. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're very deep at the defensive line. Their rotations are going to be phenomenal. And so I think you're going to see um, the running back by committee, but I also think you're going to see the defensive line by committee. I think you're going to see a lot of players running in and out, and it's just based on personnel, based on scheme and matchup and stuff like that. It's going to be a very fun year. And I think that the Eagles have exactly what it takes to win it all this year, like they should have won it last year. Uh, Thanks to Jonathan Gannon, we did, but you know,
We got a lot to look forward to this season. If we get a
most definitely.
fucking TSG bowl, I don't know what we would do. Like I really don't know what we would do. Like I
That would be
can't.
fun.
It'll be
That would be
it'll be
fun.
fucking phenomenal. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I feel like it'll be so painful that like I don't want it to happen. Like even though we should want this to happen, right? Both of our best
Yes.
teams, I kind of don't want it to happen just because I don't want one of us to have that over the other because that shit is pain, bro. Literally.
All right.
So I can only imagine how you're feeling, and I love how fired up you are because a lot of it comes from that, right? So damn
Yeah.
close, and I won't be shocked at all if you guys are back in the big game come the end of the season. Next
Most
up,
definitely.
Rams at the Seahawks. Not too much to talk about in this one.
Not at all.
Before we get into our picks, though, I got to ask you, how are you feeling about this Seattle offense this season? We had the breakout last year. Do we think we're in
Yeah.
a position to repeat, or was that a revelation?
I think they can repeat. I think the Seahawks are they've obviously found their guy in Geno Smith, which if you had said that sentence 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, is like, what are you talking about? But I think they found their guy. I like the Seahawks, to be honest. I think that they're gonna have a really good year this year. Um, they're winning this game,
For sure.
hands down. They're playing in Seattle.
12th
And the
man could go
Rams,
crazy.
yeah, the Rams are gonna have a hard time this week. And I don't know why this game is in the time slot it is,
I'm
to
not
be
gonna
completely
lie to you
honest.
though. I'm not gonna lie to you though. What really fucking weirds me out about this team and nobody talks about it, the fuck is a Seahawk, right? Like what is this? Like that's not a real thing, right? Like you could have went Pelican. Like what the fuck is a Seahawk? That is the real question that needs to be answered. No, but if I'm being for real though, I really like Jackson Smith and Jigba too. Like I'm a fan of the picks
Yes.
that they made.
Yes.
I think out of all the receivers, he was the best, to be honest. And they also got a really good safety as well. So they got a lot of good things going on. I'm just worried about I said safety, I meant corner. But I'm just
Yeah,
worried
yeah.
about
I got you.
whether or not their offensive line can hold up again. Like I feel like that was an underrated aspect of last season, and I think there is some question marks there for me at least.
Mhm.
I think they're going to be able to cover better than most teams this year. I really do. I think
Yeah.
defensively they really took a step up, and it's weird because they don't really have a standout pass rush, right? Like that's what the Seahawks have been known to be. But
Mhm.
a different style of really good defense is what I'm anticipating from the Seahawks this year. So I'm glad we're on the same page and both picking them here.
Most definitely.
Next up, Dolphins at the Chargers. In my opinion, this is the best game of the week as far as like
Mm.
matchup, head to head, both teams being at the peak of their powers and ready to ball out. Um, how do you even cap this? Like, I'm just gonna throw the lob, man. I'm excited to see what you think about the upside of both of these teams, especially their quarterbacks.
Okay. So you don't have Jalen Ramsey there, right? Um, I'm ex I'll put it like this. I'm expecting for the Chargers to exploit that matchup. I think it could be I think this is gonna be a shootout for sure. Um bro. I don't know that I trust the Chargers yet. I don't know that I do. On paper they should win this game, but I don't know that I trust them to do it. So I think I might lean toward the Dolphins with this one. I can't get a good read on this matchup, to be honest.
Hmm.
But I think Miami might be able to pull it off. The Chargers should win it. I'll put it like that. The Chargers should win, but the Dolphins, I think they can actually pull this one off. So I think I'll go with that.
All right, here's my hot take of the season. You ready for this one?
Oh,
Um,
already?
in two drafts in fantasy, I got the first pick, and I picked Austin Eckler. I think this
Yeah.
offense is really going to cook this year, and I got a lot of head scratches when I picked Eckler with the first pick. But I think he is going to be CMC that CMC could
Mm-hmm.
never be, right? Like I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
that guy. And I think just having all the offense that they have already and adding Quentin Johnson as well, like Kellen Moore just is the RB whisperer, baby. And I think a grown man
I
named
forgot
Kellen
they
is
got
a
him.
weird
Yeah.
situation. Like no matter how you play it out. But I really respect what he brings to this offense because clearly their coordinator last year, I forgot his name, and I'm glad I did because he's the reason why they've been historically bad. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, like the Browns, have been a team where they've historically underperformed and you kind of feel like they're a little cursed here. I feel like if this year isn't the year for them, I'm all in on the Chargers are cursed. Should have never
Yeah.
moved. All that good
Yeah.
stuff. I'm all in on that if that's what plays out this season. But I'm really high on the Chargers this year, and I'm picking them in this matchup.
You know what? This is the first time this season you've convinced me to change my pick. I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Fuck! God damn! I was so hype. I'm like, I needed this, Derrick, but it's all
I'm
good.
gonna go with the
I'll switch it.
Chargers. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think that's a good argument for them.
Hey, I'm a fan of what the Dolphins are bringing too. I'm not.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked if Tyreek ends up being wide receiver one at the end of the year as far as production. Like I really think he was on track to do that last year until Tua got hurt. So there's a lot of good things to look forward to, and the fact that their defense is going to be in shambles too. Shout out Eli Apple. Um,
Oh,
we're
I
gonna have
forgot they got Eli
problems.
Apple.
We're gonna have problems. So I think they're gonna be forced to really do it on offense. And I'm sure that they had that plan anyway. So
You
I
made
think they're gonna be good too. I think they're a playoff team. But I
yeah.
just got the Chargers here.
You made a great argument for the Chargers to convince me to switch over, but all you had to say was that the Dolphins had Eli Apple. I forgot all about that.
That's all you needed to hear.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all. Yeah, the Chargers are going to exploit that one apart, pick that one apart for you. So, yeah, Chargers.
All right, the final late afternoon game, Packers at the Bears. We talked earlier about how these quarterbacks aren't getting the opportunity to really be homegrown the way you should be. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow the Packers are the team to do that. Had two in a row, young players that really worked out and became franchise cornerstones for them. Jordan Love has been sitting and studying behind Aaron Rodgers for the last 3 years, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
been a long time. There's a lot of people that are really high on him this year. I'm not one of those guys. I'm actually pretty high actually on the Bears this year comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a sneaky good matchup and really brings out the best in each other as far as divisional matchups. So I think this is another one that's going to be a barn burner and fun to watch. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with uh, I'm gonna go with the Packers on the road. I think
Wow.
Christian Watson is a dog. I think they have a lot of
Yeah.
names on defense that people have forgotten about because
Yeah.
of how bad they were offensively last year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about this division because everyone is sleeping and just assuming that the Lions are going to be the ones that are going to take it all. I think Packers and the Bears have an argument. So like this is the
Mm.
division I'm not sure on at all. If there's anything I'm sure on, it's that the Vikings aren't coming in first. But
Right. 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 Right.
I don't know what it is. I would say I am more high on the Bears, but not like what for whatever reason, I think right now the matchup wise, I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the Packers on this one as well. I think the Bears. I'm high on their potential, but that offensive line still is to me is questionable.
The whole
Um,
offense hasn't done it. Like that's the issue.
yeah. It's like, but it also starts at the offensive line as well. Like you got Mooney and oh my
Claypool.
god, what's other Claypool? Yeah, which that was a weird trade, but
I agree.
um, I think it's I think they have weapons. I just don't think they're going to be able to utilize the weapons. Not to the full potential. I think they're going to be around like 75% in terms of like the ability to use those weapons properly. Um, they need to build that offensive line, man. They need to build that line. If you build that line, I would say that the Bears would be significantly better. I hope they don't move on from Justin Field, but I think that if they don't do anything this year, which I don't know what the anything would be, but if they don't do anything this year, I'm my bet is that they're going to try and move on from him, which to me is stupid.
Hmm.
That's stupid. But I got the Packers in this one too. I'm actually excited for Jordan Love this year.
Yep. I think it could work out. I'm not all in. I know a couple people that are all in, like
Yeah.
doing crazy trades for him in Dynasty and all of that. I'm not one of those
Oh
guys.
wow. Okay.
Um, but I think there is some sneaky good stuff. I think they're just a young team, right? Like they got a young
Yeah.
core, really young receivers, and
Yeah.
growing up together as a team is a really a strong suit, if you ask me. So glad we're on the
Mm-hmm.
same page. We've been waiting all year for Sunday night, baby, prime time.
Yes,
America's
sir.
team, the Cowboys, coming up against the
Yeah.
Giants. Derrick, take it away. This is your specialty.
They're in New York, right?
Yep.
Um, I think the one thing that confuses me about the Cowboys, at least the narrative around the Cowboys, is that people are still looking at them as like this extremely great team. When I think they're just a good team. They're not great. They have great pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like
For
I don't
real.
know. I can't bank on them. I'm going with the Giants on this one. Um, I think that Saquon Barkley is going to have play with a chip on his shoulder. I think that Daniel Jones, as much as we joke around about him, he's a good player. He's a good player, and he's one of those guys that will has the possibility of ripping it off and just going. They got Darren Waller. And I think that he's going to be a very good piece for them as well. I think the Giants are just going to win this game. I don't the Cowboys, bro. Prescott got picked off how many times in training camp?
Way too many.
Way too many. Way too many for someone that is already guaranteed he's not going to have a lot of interceptions this year. He already guaranteed it, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah.
But more power to him. I like Prescott as a person, but let's stop with the foolishness. The Giants will win this game, and I think it could be one of those games where you just look at the end of the game, you're like, that wasn't a great game, And I think it's because the Giants will just, I think they're going to be able to impose their will against the Cowboys, at least this game. It's
Yeah.
opening night. Brian Dable is there. I think second year as a head coach is gonna be great for him. And I'm thinking the Giants are getting back to their identity, right? I think they're one of those teams that I think people are just somewhat kind of like overlooking.
Mm.
I wouldn't overlook the Giants.
Wow. This
Not
is
not
not this is
not during
not
the
what I
regular
expected.
season. Not
Yeah.
during the regular season. They're not a team that I think is going to be able to come out of the NFC, right? But I think they're going to be. I think they're going to have a really good season this year.
Great calls, man. I'm shocked by this. You kind of got me feeling like I might want to change my pick too. I really like the addition of Derrick Henry, though. I've been a fan of him already, and I think in this scenario
Derrick Henry,
specifically, excuse me, what am I saying?
you
Oh my
good?
God, help me! The tight end, Darren Waller.
Darren
Darren
Waller.
Waller.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
What the fuck? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was bad.
You're good, man.
Hey, we're 2 hours deep here, man. Gotta give me some
I know.
slack.
Still got to eat.
For real. Oh, damn, you haven't ate. Oh, we gotta wrap this up then.
No, you good. You're
Um,
good.
I'm going with the Cowboys here. I think we'll get to this in a second, but Michael Parsons is my defensive player of the year. I think defensively they're gonna be a fucking force, and I think even if their offense is catastrophically bad behind Mike McCarthy, which I think is a real possibility. I
Mhm.
still think they should be able to keep it close enough to get a win over the Giants, who I don't see making the playoffs this year, despite them being sneaky good. I think a lot of things went right for them last year. And
They did.
the guy that they paid 40 mil a year is going to really have to ball out for them to be in that same position again, in my opinion. Got him some new talent too, right? So it's time to
Yes.
show me. It's time to show me.
Yes.
And I'm not going to bet on Daniel Jones to show me. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. But I think what you said as far as the implosion of this offense is very real. Like, I think the defense is going to be what's taking them to the playoffs, if at all. And
Yeah.
I'm really worried about the offense, man. It's always been suspect under McCarthy, but it's super
Yeah.
suspect.
Mike McCarthy needs to be on the hot seat, but to be honest, I hope they pay that man and extend him
5
five
years
years.
dynasty. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go. I love seeing the Cowboys in pieces. So it's a great thing to see.
I love it. Monday night, week one, Monday night. Am I crazy? Did we always have week one Thursday and Monday games? Was that always a thing?
I think so.
I feel like back in the day, Thursdays didn't happen until someone had a bye week. Maybe I'm crazy. Um, but I was thinking
I
about
don't
this
know. Thursday
earlier.
Thursday games need to go. The Thursday
I
games
agree.
need to go. They're
I
trash.
enjoy watching them because it's the only thing, right? Like I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
having that.
yeah,
This is the only thing I gotta watch right now.
yeah.
Red Zone is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm usually
Yes.
mostly watching Red Zone, but at the same time, you like to be able to focus in on something. But yeah, Thursday is a big injury thing for sure. Monday night, Bills at the Jets. This is really the show me game of the week. Both of
Yeah,
these
it
teams
is.
call themselves contenders. The Jets obviously looking to make a huge turnaround here. Um, the it's basically Super Bowl or bust, which in my
Yeah.
opinion is a tough place to be in this market specifically, but
Yeah.
especially with how things went last year and just everything sort of imploded on itself, especially with that QB position, right? So I think if we're still having struggles and we found the QB, there's deeper problems that need to be answered. But I am a fan of Robert Saleh, man, the Egyptian that turned the
Yeah.
jet around. You love to see it. Um, I I say all this to say the Bills are for real, and I think the Bills got better. I think if anything is suspect about the Bills, it is their defense. So it's going to be tested week one, right? Like we got
Oh
some
yeah.
we got some
Yeah.
excited things to see in that way. But I'm pretty
Hmm.
confident in picking the Bills here. I think their offense got better over the off season, and I'm really excited to see whether or not all the first shares that I've been getting in Josh Allen are going to pay off eventually because every year he balls out, but doesn't get me exactly where I need him because of that little slumper stretch that we always talk about.
Hmm.
I just assume that both teams are going to be firing well week one and not have significant sort of rust issues or look out of place. I think this is
Right.
going to be a fun game and a shootout at that. And if you're going to give me the Bills in a
Yeah.
shootout against an old ass Aaron Rodgers, give me the Bills. The fact that people are picking Aaron Rodgers as an MVP candidate, in my opinion, is
Hmm.
disgusting. Disgusting. I won't be surprised if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah. The Bills are winning this game for sure. I just think it's gonna be a really good game to watch. I'm expecting the Jets defense to really show up. I'm Sauce Gardner is someone that I'm really excited to watch this year. Um, did a phenomenal job last year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what his growth is going into the second year. But I could see the argument for picking the Jets. I could see it. I'm not going to do it, but I can see how someone could talk themselves into it.
Yeah. Takes a
I
lot of
think that
talking.
the it does. It takes a lot of talking. You're gonna be talking for a little bit, but I can see how someone could do such a thing. The Bills are definitely gonna win this game, and I think to me, I think it comes down to in the AFC at the end of the year, it comes down to the Bills, Ravens, uh, uh, Bengals. I think if the Chiefs, it should be the Chiefs too, right? But if the Chiefs have this issue all year long with Chris Jones, I don't know. So I'm like it should be those four teams,
Yeah.
but the other three are the ones that are solidified to me. So I just don't know yet.
Mm.
Because if you can't stop that run, you're gonna have a long year. You are gonna have a very long year this year. It's gonna be interesting. This is gonna be a great year, man. It's gonna be a great season. I am looking
Oh yeah.
forward to it. I don't care which one of y'all we see in the Super Bowl though.
Ooh, which one of y'all? I like that you framed it
I
because without
yeah.
any foresight or preparation, our award show has arrived. Derek, are you ready to dish out
Oh
our
snap!
awards? Coach
Oh
of the
Jesus,
year
bro.
for the 2023 season. Who are you going
Doug
with?
Peterson. Doug
Doug
Peterson.
Peterson. I hate it because I'm going with Dougie too. Da, 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 da. I think we already laid out the case, so we don't got to do anything
Yeah.
else. Um, the locks are what's going to take us over the top. Comeback player of the year. There's only one way to go, right?
Ooh.
DeMar Hamlin.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if he balls out. Yeah. But especially if he balls out. Yeah. I'll go Hamlin as well. I forgot all about yeah. Jesus, man. This
Yeah,
feels like it's
that
been a
one kind of
long
writes
year.
itself, right?
Yeah, yeah. This feels like it's been a really long year.
If that
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
happen, I'm gonna be real. I think Lamar Jackson is in that conversation. But we'll see. They don't typically
Mm,
consider players of that caliber for this award, but
yeah.
I think it's going to be worth consideration considering how big of a jump I think we're going to take this year. Next up, defensive rookie of the year. This is where things get deep, right? This is where things get dangerous. Who you going with?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. I like it. I'm not going there just because I know that there are so many other great players at his same position. It's kind of
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to shine in that scenario. So I'm gonna do it, man. Give me Breesy. Give me Breesy. Do you love me? I
Okay,
think he
okay.
could really do it. Next up, offensive rookie of the year. I'll take the helm for this one. I know I've been forcing you to go first. This is easy for me. Zay Flowers. I think there's no way
Hmm.
that Falcons get the team success that they need to make it work. And I think as
Yes.
far as the premier receivers that were drafted and where they're going, if anyone has a chance to be wide receiver one on their team, it's Zay Flowers. So give me Zay.
Yeah. I want to say Robinson's so bad, but I the Falcons like it's a big question mark. It's a big question mark. So I'm gonna go Flowers as well, man. I'm excited to see
Damn, let's go.
what they do, man. I'm excited to see what they do this year.
I can't believe you're in agreement because every time I said that, everyone's like, "That's such a hot take. How could
It's
you say
not.
that? You're a homer." And it's like, nah,
Nah,
bro. I'm
it's
telling you.
not. It's not. If you see all the talent that they have, especially Andrews is there, still there. You got all the running backs, Lamar Jackson, and you brought in OBJ, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of players that can act as decoys
Yep.
that you just can't even see Flowers. He's just gone. I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
let's do it. I love it. I love it. You got me cheesing over here.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year. I already tipped my hand. I'm going Micah Parsons here. Who you got, Derek?
Can I say Jalen Carter again?
What?
Can I say him
What?
again?
Really?
Because I think it's going to be between him or Sauce Gardner.
Has that ever happened?
I
A
don't
rookie
know.
getting defensive player of the year?
That's why I'm asking because I don't know. I don't know if it's even possible. But when I hear that even Lane Johnson has had issues with him lining up that great of an
Holy shit.
offensive line, that's what makes me think about Jalen Carter more. They're talking
Wow.
about how quick his step is, how forceful he is off the line, and just that presence is just there. He's quick. He's just really quick and big. Like I don't know. To me, I'm call me a homer if you want. I'm going Jalen Carter in this one too.
Only one player in the history of the National Football League has got the honor of being defensive player in their rookie year, and that's Lawrence Taylor. So we got some big shoes to fill, man. But goddamn, I love it. If there's ever been a throw the balls on the table moment, that's that right there. I can't believe you just
Yeah.
said that. You saw my face. For a
Yeah.
second I thought I was in the twilight zone, but we bouncing back. Holy
Yeah, man.
offensive player of the year. I'm gonna make you go first because I don't even know. I haven't even
I don't
decided.
know either. I don't know either. Because there's so many players. Um, you know, bump it, man. I think it's gonna be between Hurts and Mahomes. I think it could be between those two.
Okay, I like it.
Just because of the rushing and the throwing. I think that's gonna be a big factor.
Hear me out here. This is gonna take health and wealth, but I'm
Yes.
going. I'm going Tyreek Hill, the man that everyone wrote off, the
Whoa.
man that was like,
Okay.
you're only gonna be good because of um Patrick Mahomes. Nah,
Yeah.
I think if Tua can stay healthy, he'll be on track to being somewhere near 2,000 yards, which is kind of insane. Um,
Gotta see
exciting
it.
times. MVP now. So wait. Can I get a firm who we going with for offensive player for you?
I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts.
MVP. It's MVP time. There's a
Uh,
lot of different ways this can go.
this can go a lot because I can't even see a defensive player getting this. Call me a homer, bro. Jalen Hurts getting that.
Whew. I like it. I like
Jalen
the
Hurts
pick.
getting that.
I
Yeah.
like the confidence. And I think it's very rare that we go full homer, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm going Lamar Jackson. I really do
Hey,
believe. I
why
really do
not?
believe that we both
Why
have a
not?
really good shot at this because of the dual
Yes.
threat, because of the offensive prowess right now.
Yes,
Really
sir.
looking forward to this season. And now we end it all off with our Super Bowl predictions. I'll go first. I know I
Yes,
already
sir.
tipped my hand. I've got my Ravens in the Super Bowl, but I got them facing the Niners. I know you're gonna hate me. I know you can't
I won't
believe
hate
it.
you.
I know you're
Yeah.
probably tired of me
Yeah.
already. But I really do. I'm firm in my position that I said multiple times last year that if you're just looking at a roster, the best roster in the league is the Niners, and I think it's about time that they break through and make it to the bowl. I'm picking the Niners to win the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna cry. But the reason is sadness hedges, right? You got a sadness hedge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just because I'm so confident and I know that we have a shot this year, I'm not gonna pick us. I'm gonna go Niners.
Yeah, man. I'm going Eagles. Uh oof. Eagles out of NFC. And the petty in me wants to see the Chiefs come out because I wanna make sure that we really put them away this year.
Damn, put
Um
them away is crazy.
yeah.
We're gonna have this
Because we
war
had
for a couple seasons, bro. I'm telling you, there's
oh
there's
yeah,
no
for
putting
sure.
anyone
For
away.
sure. It's gonna be a battle for a couple of years. Um, but I'm gonna go Eagles, Bills. I've been wanting that Super Bowl for years now. Um, and we've talked about it multiple times. Jonathan and I have talked about it multiple times. Um, Lock me in. I think this is the year that they have to make it. Like they should have made it last year, the year before. But yeah, I'm gonna put them there, and I got the Eagles winning it all.
Course. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the
Yeah,
confidence. I love this episode. I don't know if you
this was
guys
a great
agree.
episode.
I can't
Yeah,
wait to hear the feedback from you guys because we have missed you so much and it's an honor to be
yeah.
back. Derrick, this was special, man. Please tell the people where they could find you.
Yes, sir. You can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. But most importantly, follow the brand at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Got a lot of great stuff, and can't wait for you guys to see what else we have coming in this year. This is going to be a fun year. Again, I love doing this show with you, Chris. And so I think it's going to be even more fun with adding more, dynamics to it, with different perspectives. But you know, we're running this thing the right way, and I couldn't have asked for a better co-host on this show. So I appreciate you for sure for leading this, the way you've been doing for the last 3 years, man. This is fun as hell, fun as
Yes,
hell.
sir.
I'm glad we're
Thank
back.
you. Thank you so much for the flowers, bro. I did not ask for that at
Yes,
all. I
sir.
really appreciate it. You already know I hold you in high regard, and this is not going to be easy. Last year, I don't know how the fuck I won by 10 points. I did some voodoo. I don't know what I did, but
Hey,
I
man.
assume we're going to be within that 3 point range again this season.
Yeah.
Once again, man, just always a pleasure, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think and what you guys are looking forward to. So let us know if there's anything you would like more of us. You want us to get more into the betting angles of things versus fantasy. What are you interested in? We'd love to deliver that. But with all that
Most
being
definitely.
said, we'll catch you guys for week 2 of the NFL. The madness begins, baby. And don't forget,
Yes, sir.
as soon as we hit end on this, you are my fucking enemy. It's time to draft for the OTS league. I'm taking the chip, baby. Let's go.
Hey, you got to in order for you to take the chip, you got to take it away from me. I put it like that. I'm taking that thing all the way home. It's my year this year.
God
So
damn.
good luck to
Pause.
you.
Peace.